Good evening, everybody. System Jock here with the 84th episode of the Apostle Obsonate playthrough as Ike Upscribe. We're going to have a few things to get through. Curses, getting rid of decrepitude, and a little bit of an announcement, not for the stream, but for those of you who are fond of Cultist Simulator, I thought I should let you know that Weather Factory has recently reopened the Enigmas. Now, this was sort of a kind of a free game behind the game. It's sort of dealt with Easter eggs inside of it, and I am going to admit that I am very bad at following through on those kinds of things, partially just because of time, and also because I am a bit thick, which is also true for this round. But I highly encourage you, if you like that sort of thing, stop by the weatherfactory.biz website. In their most recent update, there will be a link to sort of the resurrection of Enigma, which is intended to be a little bit more of a marathon and probably more in line for slow or busy people like myself. And unfortunately, I'm still stumped. Like, I feel like I should know what... I think I know the hint that they have given, but I've not been able to translate that hint into progress on it. But it seems to be the sort of thing that you may want to know if you don't regularly check out their stuff, either through the newsletter or that. You might have missed it. So best bet is to just go to weatherfactory.biz and check out the most recent update. There will be a little half moon icon that will lead you to it. But part of the point is to read things carefully. So you know, I figure being able to read that update to get to the guide on Enigma is probably the first minor test. With that in mind, let's focus on our current game right now. So I got Fascination. I didn't watch the previous... I don't normally watch the videos before I go, so I can't remember exactly what happened here, but I seem to recall... Yes, so Despair Abate. So Fleeting Reminiscence is going to take out the fascination. We're currently summoning a maid in the mirror. I think we were going to potentially dismiss... Good question whether or not I want to dismiss it. The Callagine looks like they're just being kept around at the moment. Do we have a season of suspicion coming up? Nope, but we do have a season of sickness. We are... yes, okay. I recall what was happening here. So it's deepening the silence, because if I want to get rid of the maid in the mirror, I can summon a new one with the influence. I think I was trying to avoid... the despair, but of course, right now I actually want some dread, because that will let me get rid of the fascination. Although again, Fleeting Reminiscence will take it. And then we are getting our first Port Noon location. So we've got the money. I think probably we should be heading out on some more expeditions. I know the plan was eventually to switch locations, but I've got locations to go to. The only other thing I'd like to do is get some health ready to go, but that's not available to me right now. The only question I have is, do I want to try and use the dream slot for anything right now? So I can go through the stag door. That would maybe get me some fragments. Yeah, why not? In my dreams, I know the path to the stag door. Through the maze of the bounds, Gearby will let me pass, but the path is always a puzzle. I will need reason. The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. Silence waits west of the world, but not forever. Wolf's despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. Now potencies and potentialities align. Alright, a silent place. I've intensified this winter influence. Let's hope there aren't too many negative consequences. So this is a level 10 winter influence. If I want, I can use it for summoning. If it doesn't turn out, I'll either have to get rid of the dread or otherwise dump this influence. But what do I want to do? Well, okay, so there's potential for dread kind of hanging all over the board here, but I think probably it wouldn't hurt for me to start working on some of these texts. So, In Memory of the Gods, a work by the Barrowchild's nameless Gaulish adept who joined an organization known as the Ordo Lemea. So we will translate that. And if there isn't an immediate despair threat, I think I'm just going to read the book. I am a little alarmed at how I seem to have stalled out, so I'm using the talk verb for things that aren't repairing the mirrors or, getting rid of evidence or anything like that. But I've also sort of been a little forced. All right, the thing that was the woman has no expression of her own. The movements of her eyes and mouth always match mine, as if I were looking in a mirror. Her fingernails are as sharp as glass. So, this sort of sucks for me. Because now I need to find a way to get rid of it. I did not realize that this fascination would still be sticking around, and I used my dream slot thinking that I wouldn't have the fascination would be consumed as part of the ritual. So the fascination, or the fleeting reminiscence, isn't going to get picked up here. The fascination is. I can't use the bitter atmosphere in order to perform the work. Because then that would take up the fascination. So what I'm going to do here, let's do the sunset right. I'm going to use fascination. And... Oh, right, of course, because that wasn't the sacrifice part. Why would I have thought it would work any other way? That's my blunder. Wait, it isn't winter, is it? No, yeah. I just did this. Yeah, Major Forge's Redemption. I would have liked to go in with a bit more intensity, but I want to get rid of the fascination more. So, the Forge of Days destroys and renews it. If I invoke it with the Grail to renew my failing flesh with forbidden magics, you are calling on a major degree of Forge, so the right will probably succeed. Increase Forge to at least 15 to improve your chances further. So again, we're just working with what we've been given here. Got to figure out something to do with the bitter atmosphere when the time comes, but we'll leave that be. And this place merits closer investigation. St. Tentreo of the Deep Door. A monastery hangs grimly on a cliff edge. It should have fallen into the sea by now, but we have read. The monks drowned victims in a deep pool beneath to win the sister and witch's protection from the sea. One more year. Okay, but before we go there, we are going to go to the star-shattered fane. Here is a place sacred to the gods of the earth until a meteor fell on a winter's night. In time, worshippers crept back to the broken ruins. In time, the meteorite itself came to be worshipped as a bringer of dreams. The old altar may yet remain somewhere beneath the meteorite's lair. Okay, so we will send the Maid in the Mirror and the Callagine, as well as a little money. A star fell in the deep desert. It did not quite destroy the sacred place it struck. The treasures of the old altar may remain hidden beneath the grave of the star, but we must approach the star cautiously. It still resonates with the energies from outside the world. So this doesn't have, to me, any... I mean, there's a couple that I would make a guess in terms of what it would be, but in this case here, we already know that we're bringing the 2 summons, and we'll just try and make sure that we place our followers accordingly. It also seems like a really good time for me to start repairing some of my items. So let's get Valsine back on the task. We'll work with the Watchman's Glass first because we have a little bit more silver. Okay, we knew this was coming. Another season of visions. I'm going to try the Painted River this time because I think we will be able to get by... Okay, well... I better hope it can. Light leaks through the cracks. My mind is brighter than it ever was. The higher I rise, the more I see. I dreamt of the mantis behind the white door, of the great space before the orchard, the space that overlooks the bounds, the space where the vagabond once painted her river. Painted ships passed upon the painted river. I met the painted eyes of a painted captain. She saluted, and the motion was like the layer movement of clouds. The sails of the ship was amber, and the captain's eyes the green of new barley, and the river aquamarine. Now that I'm awake, I see those colors still. So I think what I'm going to do here, because we've already... Oh, nope, we've got 2 fascinations, so I do need to find a way of clearing this out. What a bummer. Okay, well, I'm probably just going to wind up... So 1 will let the bitter atmosphere decompose into dread. I need to decide between using money to heal or using health to train. I have 52 seconds to figure out what I'm going to do with this fascination. I think I'm probably just going to use it in a ritual. Prepared the text for study. The Barrowchild's nameless Gaulish adept who joined an organization identified as the Ordo Lamea writes regretfully of the destruction of the gods who were stone, the hours who preceded humanity. So, in this particular case here, I'm going to read... I've got basically 2 threats on the table right now. One of them is the fascination, and the other is the sickness. Now, the sickness, I've got 3 health remaining after this one, so it's not actually that big of a deal, and the easiest way for me to get rid of it is just to pay the money. The fascination, on the other hand, is something, it'll get to level 2, so at that point there's 1 more fascination and then it's game over. So in this case here, it seems to be the bigger threat to me, and reading a winter book is more likely to help me mitigate that threat. So the Bearchild singles out the Sacred Tribune, the Red Grail, the Forge, and the Moth for a special condemnation as murderers of the first gods. We live in the shadow of their crime, she writes, and we must evade it or repeat it. Now again, that's not going to help me here. I do still need to find a way of sort of kicking the can down the road as far as the fascination's concerned. I have some ideas about that, but let's see how this ritual turns out first. The expedition continues. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. I can add funds now, or I could send another follower. So yet another curse. So harder winter to suppress the curse. Winter we should be fine with. The desolation, an immense and tawny furnace barely contained by its horizons. At night, chilly wilderness of stars. Chilly wilderness of stars. We must go carefully with forge to shape our way, or grail to secure us against thirst. And finally, a hidden door. Hidden doors can be found with lantern or knock. So we don't actually have any lantern right now. So I'm going to need 1 additional funds and then 1 lantern. In this particular case here, what I'm going to do is send Pope Clifton. So that'll be my lantern component. It's very unlikely we're going to start with a hidden door. But I figure I can send Pope Clifton. If we have what we need, then I add funds. If we don't have what we need, then we add whatever influence we need. I glimpse subtle movement in the world, like floaters which sometimes move in the eye, but slyer. Sometimes, too, I hear them. All right, the Forge of Days has failed me, or I have failed it. This magic has brought me only nightmares and peril. Well, this is one of the few times I'm actually happy to have dread. So what I can do here, let's just take the fascination and dread. We'll hit it for composure immediately. So if I try the right of the map's edge, and I try to get rid of the fascination this way... Well, no, that doesn't work either. So what I should be doing is trying to get Forge influence somewhere. Or alternatively... Yeah, you know what? Let's do something different here. So I think if we do the right of the Mother's Mercy... So we can use the Xanthotic Essence. So in this case, an assistant is offered in sacrifice to the Mother of Ants, but the Mother knows healing as well as poison, and she will be merciful, accepting the substitute of a lesser offering. Usually, the experience is not reassuring to the assistant. So here we only have Tristan, but Tristan's got the 5 Forge, so we're happy with that. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Let's send Saliba. So that's going to be Grail. It's minor at the moment, but then we add Tristan, then we add the Formula Fissive. That brings us up to Grand. The Forge of Days destroys and renews. If I will invoke it with the Grail to renew my failing flesh with forbidden magics. You are calling on a grand degree of Forge, and this will almost certainly succeed, but there are always risks. Okay, my follower needs a Silver Spintrea or better to complete their task. And we're on the dry road. We are practical souls, strong in Forge. We should be able to make it between the baking rocks and green places. Now, very glad I didn't use Tristan in that ritual because we wouldn't have gotten our extra level. Our Forge skills should keep us safe and lead us through the baking rocks to the green places. We'll almost certainly be fine. The illness has damaged my health. I'll need rest before I am fully recovered. It's possible we may be able to get the vitality before we need it, but the solidity of the everyday banishes phantoms. I feel I tether myself to the everyday. There we go. So the Bear Child describes how the Grail drained the hour called Tide, how the moth usurped the wheel from within, stealing its skin, and how the Forge first eclipsed, then shattered flint. Perhaps these are glories, she observes, but then it cannot be that glory is merciful. So, another recitation of lost hours. Study-wise, I suppose we can just use the health to get the vitality now. That'll save us funds, because clearly we've not been earning a lot of money while we deal with our both our physical and mental challenges. Long walks kill cobwebs. Mirror is repaired, it shines again as it did once before. And we might as well grab the Wildering Mirror as well. The sun is setting, we look back across the desolation we crossed, and at all the colors it assumes in the evening light. Night falls, stars prickle, the wind presses cold hands to our faces. Onwards. New colors. I've begun to notice colors in the world for which I have no name. I've been renewed with flame, tempered with blood. My flesh is strong again, but the Forge's radiance has dazzled my soul, and people will talk. Decrepitude has been transformed back to health, but you've gained fascination and notoriety. Well, at this point, I'm just kind of accepting that I'm living with a very loose connection with reality. We did, however, manage to deal with the decrepitude from the curse. The air is curdled now. I'm home again in this limp and flesh. Better, perhaps. I think in this case here, we'll just spike the fascination right away. I do need something to deal with the chilly atmosphere, but I suspect that will... this is going to be how I deal with the new colors. Oh, and I've got my work slot. So I suppose I can try painting again. We do have a staleness that I need to get rid of. Alternatively, I can start doing these commissions. I'm doing all right money-wise, so let's grab some... Let's get some work done. This may be useful for a commission. I did a high-level heart just so that I may generate a vitality. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. I can add funds now, or I could send another follower. Here, I'll add the funds just so I can get that out of the way. Oh, this is unlucky. I gotta stow the chilly atmosphere away for 8 seconds. Or sorry, in 8 seconds for 51. None of these are going to become available, so this is gonna get hit. Unlucky for me. seeing things I shouldn't, but I know this is dangerous, but it's difficult not to long for it. So we're probably just going to have to... I'll have to get contentment somewhere, but we can use this fleeting reminiscence to get rid of the fascination. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions, it's over for now. So that was on me for not checking the time passes. So we'll have a season of notoriety to deal with in the next episode, but I am trying to keep things on time. So this was definitely me juggling all of my various maladies. We're doing all right. We got rid of the decrepitude. We are on track for getting rid of the affliction, so in 21 seconds we will use this vitality in the dream slot. We're going to be able to get the fascination with the fleeting reminiscence, and I don't think it should be that hard to get rid of the dread. In this case, it's probably just a matter of doing a painting to earn the contentment. And then, of course, we are still making some progress towards the expeditions here, but really we just managed to get that started tonight. So for the next episode, we will be continuing on with our expeditions, and hopefully we will be packing away the last of the threats to be. But that will all be left for Friday's broadcast. As always, thank you very much for watching. I do always appreciate the likes or the subscribes or the comments and all the various ways of engaging with YouTube, which helps me reach a broader audience and hopefully give some entertainment. And if you don't want to do any of that, you just want to watch, I appreciate that nonetheless. So I will see you all Friday at 6:30.